Okay, now for the cool part. Let's bring back the perspective view so you can see what's happening. I know that we kind of have every single surface here mapped to a normal. In fact, we don't need to have them all mapped to a normal, but it's not going to hurt us now that it already is. But it is going to be really annoying to look at. So I'll turn off all of this evaluate surface stuff, just so I don't have to see it really. Now, what you're going to see is that as I change my subdivisions, the subdivisions of the surface in front of my space also changes. And that's pretty cool. The other thing I want to do here is actually move my surface a little closer to the front, right? Because I don't want to rely on my glazing being recessed. You might find yourself in a position where it's not. So I'm going to just kind of pull it along the surface here to get it pretty close to the front, but not exactly on the edge. Okay, so now in perspective, it's almost, just a couple inches recessed. I'll also hide my glazing layer again. All right, so now we're off to the races. Here we go. What I want to discuss is essentially creating some kind of a framework for us to begin to isolate and compartmentalize some of the geometry. And we're going to start selecting specifically out of lists of data the elements that we want to modify. It goes a little something like this. If I wanted to create a waffle, let's start with that, right? A simple waffle, just every single one of these panels gets extruded. It's really, really simple. All I have to do is just grab all of these edges because they're already pre-packaged in 4s. And I can go to Surface, Freeform, Extrude, and I've already got my normals. So all I'd have to do is extrude my edges along the normal direction like that. I'll turn this, actually I'll just delete that other stuff. And this is essentially what you get. It's really exaggerated right now, so it probably would be something kind of small, like 1 or 2 feet. And it's going to look kind of like that. If I turn off all my original stuff, you can actually see right through it. There you go. That's a little easier for you guys to see, right? Oh, darn. Okay. All right, so that's your basic kind of waffle extrusion. But you have to note that if you were to zoom in here, see how there's kind of a graphic problem with one of the panels or some of the panels? And that's because every single panel has a group of 4 and they're all getting extruded, and so where they intersect panel to panel, you have multiple surfaces being intersected. That particular surface can be extruded even further. I don't want to go down that route, actually. Let's do it this way. The other thing I want to do is go kind of build back into the definition. I want to start to figure out, do I actually want a waffle or do I not want a waffle? And so it's going to look a little like this. Instead of grabbing all of the faces and extruding them all, rather not the faces, the edges, I'm going to do a list item. So before doing that, I want you to look at the list that we're selecting. So plug in edges to a panel. So this is essentially what we just plugged in. They're packets of 4. 4 lines for every panel. Now, if we want to isolate, say, all of the panel edges on one side, right? I showed you this very, very briefly in like my introduction stuff. We'll have to do what's called a list item. A list item is found under set and list. It's called list item. It's going to request a list, which for us is going to be the grafted list of edge curves. And it's going to ask for an index item, a numerical input that filters through that list and grabs that component out of it. And the wrap list bounds, don't worry about it. It just cycles that list back through if you have very large numbers. So edges will plug into L. And for our index, it's going to look like this. We have packets of 4, so our list item is going to go from 0 to 3. Why is that? Yeah, because that's 4 items. But also, the important thing to note is that while we have, I don't know, how many groups? 60 individual subdivisions. That's not 60, is it? Oh, hold on. Oh, 15 faces, right? We have 15 faces. So while we have 15 packets of information, the list item isn't going to select an entire packet or a set. It's going to select one item from every single one of those packets or sets. Does that make sense to you? If not, it will in a second. Because my slider here going from 0 to 3, when I plug that in, like that, I can plug my panel into the other side of that, and this is what you get. Instead of one set of 4 line-like curves, you get 15 sets of 1 line-like curve. Are you guys visualizing what's happening yet? All right. So what that means is, I'll get rid of those panels. If I plug in my list item to the extrusion instead, I now have one side of every single one of my panels. And I can change that side by going vertical, horizontal, and then vertical again, but on the other side of the panel, obviously. So, yes?
What is extrusion?
Oh, yeah, sorry. After I use them a bunch, I tend not to tag them. Extrusion is under surface freeform. The other thing you can do, just to remind you, if you can't find something, just double click and type it in. So if you, like, I started typing in extrusion and it came up. See, extrusion. Okay, and then once you drop it in, if you want to find out where it came from, hit Control Shift and click on it, and it brings you to the menu. Okay. All right, so jumping back into what we were talking about here. So the panels here, they're on the western side of our building. So if we're going to have vertical fins, which orientation do we want these, or which side of the panels do we want it to be on? Do we want it to be here on index item 3? Do we want it to be on 2 or 1 or 0? Why 3? What's that? Why does it make more sense?
The sun's going towards the south and going down along west, so it block the south side of the sun.
Because it's wrapping around this corner, right?
Yeah.
Sun's coming around from the south and wrapping over here to the west. Yeah, so you probably, I mean, we know that we want vertical fins because basically, again, I've told you that on the east and west, you typically want vertical fins. But this one would not really be ideal because this last fin being on the northern side of that glazing element isn't shading anything. So this fin would be shading something, and you wouldn't need to shade anything at the backside, right? So that makes a little more sense, right? All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge now. How are we doing on time for this one? All right, we're at 10 minutes, but let me give you a quick challenge. Where else would I want louvers or fins or anything else like that?
On the south.
Well, I mean on the western, on this particular assembly.
Also horizontal?
Yeah. Do you need one or do you need many?
A couple. Yeah, if you probably many.
You can use many, but really the one that's going to operate most for you is just at the top.
Like an overhead.
So yeah, sort of, yeah. Because what's going to happen is your sun's going to kind of come down this way, and for a little bit of time, think about what it would mean to have sunlight coming in if it's in the summer and it just barely leaks over from a very high sun angle, and you get all of that exposure from sun. And that's almost half of, if you triangulate it, right? That's almost half of the entire exposure along that side. So what you would want to do probably is just top it off with kind of a cap. So if you're going to top it off from a cap, where would I pull the edge from? Am I going to pull the edge from these edges? Am I going to pull the edge from the faces here? Or am I going to pull it from my subdivide surface? Or am I going to pull it from my original surface? What's the path of least resistance? You said the faces? It's not the least resistance.
Original?
The original surface. Why?
Because that's where you started.
Yeah, but the key is, right now I'm only building one surface. And if I'm only building one surface, I only need one edge. If I do, and I'm going to walk you through it here real quick. Let me kind of copy the list item and the extrusion real fast. I could switch my extrusion over to a horizontal format that exists at the top, but I'm going to get a waffle. But I don't want these ones at the bottom. So the ideal situation would be to deconstruct the original surface, which gives me 4 edges. You guys following here? And in the same logic, right, we're using the edges. I use a list item on my edges, and I get the top. Curve. Why is that giving me so many? Oh, because I have 15 vectors. I see. Okay, so because I'm getting 15 vectors, that means I have 15 surfaces being extruded, which was an unexpected error. So it's not quite as simple as I would have hoped, but really what I've got to do is just copy down the normal stuff. So I can grab these and that and that. In fact, I don't think I really need that. So I'll copy these down. And amplify can actually just pull from the same source. And if I just plug that, I need to use my regular surface instead. So I'll override all the connections from the regular surface. There should be 3 here and that. And amplify is okay. And then I just replace vectors into extrusion, and there you go. I know I probably confused you a bit with that. Anytime I grab something that has like more than 1 or 2 connections, I don't like it presenting it to you that way. But just know that I grabbed the whatever it was to find the normal, copied, pasted it down, reconnected using my new origin element, and then fed back in the amplitude vector into extrude. Any questions? So in reality, you're probably going to want more than just this, but for a simple kind of isolation study, element isolation study, I think this is pretty good.